Hello everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm excited to talk about Bake Neko, which is the source material for the Mononoke movies, Phantom in the Rain and Rage of Ashes, which I've already made videos on. This 3-episode story is taken from Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales, which is an anthology collection of 3 individual horror stories. In this video, I'm going to cover Bake Neko, which is the 3rd story, and Mononoke serves as the spin-off of this story, and I'll most likely cover the other 2 stories in separate videos. I was delighted to find that the rich textures and lush design of Mononoke was there from the beginning. The paper effect, the abundance of colors and patterns, and it's all just a feast for the eyes, and it was like that from the beginning. Of course, the more modern Mononoke movies do look better, the saturation is higher, and the kind of widescreen way that they're shot allows for a lot more to be included in each frame. And of course, there is just, improvements in technology. But overall, I was really pleased with Bake Neko and I thought it looked great. I watched it in both English and Japanese and preferred the Japanese. I could be biased in my preference because I adore Crispin Freeman's performance as the medicine seller, and Andrew Francis's voice is quite different. While we don't know for sure that this is a prequel, but it does feel like one because the medicine seller feels like he's much younger than we see in the Mononoke movies. He's a little more playful and seemingly less experienced in dealing with not just the Mononoke, but the people and events that are its source. Before I get into the events of the story, here's a quick rundown of the main characters. The medicine seller, a mysterious man who exercises Mononoke and does also sell medicines. Kayo is a young servant girl in the household. Orajima is a young samurai in service to the clan. Lord Yoshiyuki is the oldest male in the family, the former head, and currently retired in his old age. I'm going to refer to him as the Elder Lord because the names are quite similar and can get confusing. Yoshikuni is Yoshiyuki's oldest son who was skipped over for head of the clan because he's a lazy drunk. Yoshiaki is his younger brother and currently the head of the clan. Most of the time I'll refer to him as Mao's father, Mao is his daughter, and Mizue is his wife. Sasaoka is an older samurai in the clan. Masato is one of the ladies of the clan and acts as a kind of house manager. The story begins with the medicine seller arriving at the home of the Sakai clan on the day Mao is to be married to the head of the Shiono clan, who is implied to be old and impotent. In exchange for this match, the Shionos will take on the Sakai's substantial debt. The men of the Sakai clan have mismanaged things and their situation is dire. While everyone is busy with wedding preparations, one of the maids, Kayo, lets the medicine seller into the kitchen. While he's there, he notices an abundance of rat traps, and yet they have no cat. Apparently, someone in the household really doesn't like them. As Mao is leaving her childhood home, she suddenly drops dead. Very shocking stuff. The medicine seller informs the group that he is the only one who can help them because there is a Mononoke in the house. He puts up barriers and warns nobody to step out of them, which means nobody can leave. Unfortunately, but also understandably, they don't believe him and send a servant to fetch the doctor. They do not tell anyone that Mao is dead, keeping it a secret because they depend on this match. I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish, but that is what they choose to do. The medicine seller is bound as they rifle through his case, discovering his sacred sword. Why does a medicine seller have a sword? What use could he possibly have for such a thing? And where is that damn doctor and why is he taking so long? As Orajima paces, blood drips from the ceiling, and the medicine seller kicks the young samurai out of the way just as the servant's corpse falls to the ground. He did say not to step out of the barrier. The Mononoke attacks and the medicine seller slips his vines to put up wards. It is now very clear that something is going on. He succeeds in repelling the Mononoke, but this protection will not last. In order to exercise the Mononoke, he needs the form, the truth, and the regret. He directs his questions to the gathered family. What have you done that could cause this? And not one of them answers. This first episode has quite a few moments of comedy, especially in the beginning when we see the medicine seller playfully interacting with the maid who lets him into the kitchen. I also found it kind of amusing that he's got erotic materials inside his medicine case and probably makes a good chunk of money from selling those. In the next episode, the medicine seller sets up scales with valves to track the movement of the Mononoke and sets up a barrier of salt to contain it within the house. Orajima is pushing him every step of the way, doubting every step that he takes, but at the same time, he does not cross the salt barrier or damage it in any way. Once everyone is gathered in the same room, he asks for the truth and regret. Why would a Mononoke be here? And why are there no cats in this household? Could it be that someone has done something bad to a cat? Kayo mentions that she sometimes scares them away from the house by throwing water at them, but surely something so menial wouldn't cause a whole Mononoke. And the medicine seller says, who knows? Spirits be weird sometimes, so guys, just always be kind. You never know what's going to happen. Not wanting to be responsible for all this horror, Kayo points to Miss Sato. Apparently, she has been buying cats, just lots and lots of cats. When the medicine seller asks her why she's been buying all these cats, she says she didn't know what they were for, she only buys them. She was only instructed to buy them. One of the lords, the older, drunken one, explains they purchased the cats to test out some blades that they had purchased. Cats may have soft bones, but they have hard hides, perfect for testing out blades. What a barbaric thing to do. Several of the men begin bickering amongst themselves, bringing up gripes that have nothing to do with cats or the issue at hand. The elder lord reprimands them. Mao is lying here dead. Let us not behave so unseemly. It is now past midnight and the Mononoke is stalking along the salt barrier. Its movement shown by the tinkling of the scales. The medicine seller tracks its movement, but the salt barrier seems to be holding well. Mao's mother Mizue, who had collapsed after her daughter died, wakes. Upon seeing her daughter's body, she sobs and apologizes. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She removes the face covering from the young woman's face and she almost looks like she's just asleep. So peaceful. Mizue's grief is so heavy, her emotions so strong, and this is basically just my theory, that all of this high energy emotion provides fuel that the Mononoke is able to feed off of, and it becomes strong enough to break through the salt barrier and enter the room. Mao's eyes open and she speaks to her mother, saying her name as her face grows monstrous. Mizue backs away, screaming that it's Tamaki. Tamaki is here. Hysterical, she crosses to the far side of the room, scratching at the doors. We can see through the walls that the Mononoke is following her, concentrating where she is. And for the most part, everyone listens. Finally, Mizue rips open the doors and we see dozens of red cats and a woman in white. And so the form of the Mononoke is revealed. Bake Neko, a ghost cat. And it has taken the lives of Mizue and Sasahoka. The medicine seller put up a series of barriers moving from room to room, and now he asks them once again for the truth. Who is Tamaki and what happened to her? Bake Neko is steadily approaching them, breaking through the barriers. If you know, you must tell me, he says. They do not answer, but grow increasingly fearful as the Mononoke draws closer. They also look very, very guilty, and Misato is rapidly falling apart. In order to run away further, the Elder Master reveals that there is much more to the house than first meets the eye and unveils a hidden staircase leading to a large underground, beautifully decorated room. On a raised platform in this room, they find a wedding kimono on display, the same one being worn by the Mononoke. On the staircase, Misato sits down heavily, her knees giving way, and it becomes clear she knows why the Bake Neko is here. She screams to the Elder Master, who remains seated above, that this is all his fault. He is the one who did this, who caused all of this. The Mononoke breaks through the final barrier and emerges before him, staring him down with hate in its supernatural gaze.
そうか。化け猫の誠はあんたか。
The medicine seller holds the Mononoke back and compels the old man to reveal the truth behind its origin. What did he do? He recounts the events of 25 years ago. He was impulsive and looking for entertainment while traveling in winter. He came across an envoy transporting a bride. He says he just wanted to scare her, but instead he takes her, galloping away as her attendants scream and beg for her return. He says if Tamaki had only screamed,
玉木が悲鳴をあげたら
a lie formed by 25 years of justifications. He returns home with her, keeping her in the underground room on the raised platform. He describes her as quiet and serene, almost like she wanted to be there.
ほとんど抗う様子もなく、まるで
I had no choice but to take even more from her. How repulsive. He says to make up for stealing her in the prime of her life, he dressed her in fine clothes, fed her the finest meals, and gave her a precious cat.
働若い命をさぞ無念だったことだろう。
ではその女性の思いが猫に乗り移り化け猫になったと。
屋敷から花嫁が出ていくのが許せなかったんだろうよ。
While the medicine seller struggles against the Mononoke, Kaio is focused on his blade, noticing that it remains sheathed and unchanged. Sensing there is more to the story, she pleads with Misato for more information, but all the older woman can do is scream her denials. She just did what she was told. The Mononoke is only getting stronger and the medicine seller's hand is bleeding as it gains ground on him, manifesting in the form of a beastly cat that he is barely able to push back. The two lords seal themselves in the room below, refusing to let the others in, and when the Elder Master calls out to his son, he blocks his ears in horror. Misato, now fully in the grips of hysteria, attacks Kaio, strangling her. Orajima, who has the Elder Master on his back, notices this and turns to help her, but his master wraps an arm around his neck and squeezes. "You will protect me," he says. The medicine seller's strength is failing. He senses the regret of the humans and the regret of the Mononoke are different. Kaio and Orajima are being strangled, the Mononoke is progressing, and the two lords are so fearful they cannot leave the room. Orajima pleads for help and the medicine seller rallies. Surrounding himself in wards, he attempts to withdraw his blade, but he is unable to do so. What is wrong? Does he actually have the truth of what happened to Tamaki?
「これはお前が見せたのか」
With the medicine seller now inside the world of the Mononoke, his wards surround Kaio, Misato, and Orojima. The Mononoke floods into the room below, raging as the lords and Misato stare at it in absolute fear. At the same time, the medicine seller has a vision of a woman petting a cat, speaking to it lovingly. As the Elder Lord and Orojima and Kaio watch, Bake Neko consumes the two lords and Misato. It races up the stairs, smashing against the walls and leaving behind a grotesque picture of their disfigured bodies. With no human left alive to tell the truth, the Mononoke shows the medicine seller a true glimpse into the past. Tamaki did not go to him willingly. She was not quiet and serene. She wanted to go home and was beaten for it and sexually assaulted for daring to issue orders to a lord. The medicine seller asks Bake Neko to show him the truth of the story, and so he, Kaio, and Orojima bear witness to what truly happened to Tamaki. The Elder Master was a horrible man, a brute who kept her down below in a cage. After leaving her alone for a while, he returned to find a cat had made her nest there and had children, and so he killed them. Misato brought her food, insulting and belittling her as if Tamaki had done something wrong, as if she wanted this to happen to her. When Tamaki doesn't eat any of the food that she brings, Misato threatens to stop bringing it at all. One day she finds a kitten above her cage, the only one to survive. She brings it into her cage and gives it the food that Misato brought. The cat becomes her companion, the only thing that gives her a bit of joy, the only thing that gives her some hope. Even though she is trapped here, the cat can get out one day. The cat can grow big and strong. There is still hope for this little creature. We can see that Tamaki is unclothed, thin and haggard, but when we see Tamaki's face, it is full and beautiful, almost like that's how Bake Neko remembers it. And then one day Yoshikuni comes downstairs. He's the older son, and he too assaults Tamaki. We see Kaio on the ground crying into her hands, Orojima looking away, but the medicine seller keeps his eyes on the scene, bearing witness to Tamaki's torment. When Yoshikuni's father discovers what he has done, he beats Tamaki for seducing him. How can someone so lowly as her do such a thing? He begins to beat her while Yoshikuni watches, and the cat defends her, scratching him and standing protectively over her body. The cat obviously returned her affection. The Elder Master beats Tamaki until she dies.
化け猫よ、お前の誠と断り、しかと受け取った。誠と断りによって。
Bake Neko weeps as the medicine seller accepts this horrible truth. With all three requirements met, he can now shift forms and withdraw his blade. After a brief and colorful altercation, the medicine seller is able to exorcise the Mononoke, and it disappears in a cloud of confetti which slowly falls to the ground. The medicine seller kneels on the platform, staring at an old black cat lying on the platform, and you can tell that the weight of the clan's actions, of what happened to Tamaki, weighs heavily on him. And this is where the credits roll, but the story is not over yet. In a post-credit scene, we see that the old man is alive. I had just assumed that the Mononoke had killed all of them, particularly the Elder Master, who was the one who had taken her. But even though he is the one who holds the largest portion of the crime in this case, he is the only one to have survived. holding on to some twisted meaning behind his despicable actions.
わしはたばかってなどおらん。あれは誠の話だ。
そうさ。これがあんたの誠。あんたの守ってきたもんだ。よく見るがいいさ。
Even after everything is revealed, after the truth has come out, he still cannot face the truth of what he has done, insisting that his version of the story was the truth when it was not at all. Even now, even after his actions brought on a Mononoke and caused the death of so many, the brutality of what he did, when he recounted the events to the medicine seller, he made it seem as if he rescued Tamaki, like they fell in love and had some kind of connection, and she was actually really happy with me, you know? Horrible, horrible, horrible. And at this point, when he's this old, it's 25 years later, I wonder if he has managed to convince himself so that he's able to hold on to the value of his own life and his clan, despite the horrible secret that they all held together. The medicine seller leaves the old man with his death and his secrets, and Orochima and Kaio bury the cat next to Tamaki, near the spot where Sasaoka had disposed of her corpse, creating a little grave marker for the cat. And as the medicine seller gets ready to leave, Kaio says she'll return to her mother's house, and as the medicine seller is leaving, he gets a glimpse or a feeling or perhaps a flash of a vision.
Neko Neko.
Tamaki's spirit finally leaves and finds freedom with her little cat next to her, both of them freed from their pain and their desire for vengeance. Now, thinking of this story in the context of the other two Mononoke movies, which explore the pain and sacrifice of women in Ryoku, and of the men too, but the focus is on women, and it seems that a precedent was set in Bake Neko, which is the exploration of women's pain, particularly in this time period. And this story, the story of Bake Neko, is such a heartbreaking one. Tamaki's fate is truly horrific, and everyone in the clan just went along with all this horror. In stories like Phantom in the Rain and Ashes of Rage, there is some comfort to be gained from structures like the Oku not really existing anymore, though there is definitely a conversation to be had about duty and sacrifice. But women being kidnapped and assaulted still happens now. This is still very much a thing, and it makes me wish that Mononokes existed. I wish that someone whose death is caused in so much pain and agony and hopelessness really could spawn a supernatural creature bent on vengeance, that the truth was always forced into the open, and those who make excuses for their terrible actions and deny culpability and rewrite history could literally not know peace until they were forced to confront the truth. It astounds me that the Elder Master held himself with such an air of dignity after what he had done, and yet that is very true to life. Often monsters don't look that way all the time. And even in the telling of Tamaki's story, I didn't mention it at the time, but during that flashback, we see the Elder Lord grab his son's bride's face and forces a kiss on her, showing what a vile person he truly was, truly is, and how he viewed women. And at the end of the whole story with everyone dead, he still holds on to the lies he told to make himself look good, to downplay what he did and make it seem like Tamaki was happy in the life he gave her, that she didn't mourn the life that he stole. The more that I talk about the story and the more that I think about it, the angrier I become. They never ever faced the truth. Even when the Bake Neko was there to kill them, none of them told the truth. Cowards till the very end. But I have to end this video here. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe or like the video if you want to. In terms of the whole Ayakashi anthology, this one was definitely my favorite, but in another video I will cover the other two in one video, I think. So please keep a lookout for that if you're interested in horror. I'm Kayla and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!